Hey everybody, it's Sam here. Thank you for watching today. So I'm going to show you how to make these tunnel cards. Now I made this one during a Facebook Live just before Christmas. And as I was making this one, I was saying about how you can use any shapes to make your aperture and to form that tunnel effect. And when I thought about the circles, I thought of a space theme, and then I thought about using my stamps and dies, and I've created this one here, and I'm so pleased with this one. I love the shine from the little stars. I've inked all of the background and created this kind of galaxy, and I show you how to do all of that in the video. We've got some of the accent glaze there, just on a few parts of the astronaut and the rocket. And then this one's a birthday card, so we've got Happy Earth Day. And then we've got the embossing folder on the side there. And then on the back, we've got the sentiment, have a blast, and some more of those stars. These all fold flat. So this one folds better that way, so that'll fit into a 6x8 envelope. But I'm going to be sharing a tutorial for a box envelope in that size soon, because I don't have that one on my channel yet, and I've been making quite a few cards in that size. It stands up really nicely. And then this was the one that I made during the live, and I've used this lovely ostrich stamp from Ink Designs. I'll link all of that product in the description box below, and if you want to see how I made this one, just follow the link again below and you'll be able to see that version. But these are lovely to make whether you've got, you know, dies or not, because you can create the squares with your trimmer. You know, you don't need too many specialty kind of dies and stuff to make these ones. And then whatever you want to create your scene, whether it's an animal or a space theme, it could just be a load of flowers. You know, the kind of ideas are endless with that. So let's get into the tutorial and I'll show you how easy these are to make. So I'm going to use my circle dies. The papers are from the Reveal Wheel Backgrounds paper pad. It's going to be one of the two space themed ones. You've got your weather and then you've got plants there. The embossing folder I'm thinking about having in the very back, just to add a little bit of dimension or texture. And then this is the stamp set, so it's the Out in Space. And you've just got so many lovely images there. So I'm going to stamp and colour all of the planets. I'm going to have the little astronaut and then pick a sentiment as well. I'll put the space station in there as well. So for the main, well, the front and the sides is a piece of 11x6. Along the 11-inch side, you want to score at 1/2 inch, 2.5, 8.5, and 10.5. Then you'll want a piece of 6x6 for the very back, and then you'll want 3 pieces of 6x7, and along the 7-inch side you're going to score at 1/2 inch and 6.5. And these are for the just the center kind of different tiers. You can have more of these if you wanted to, and you could double them and then have a 1/4 inch tab rather than a 1/2 inch. If you want to add even more kind of depth in the card, then you can just change the tab size and you can get more in. That's everything you need to score. So I'm going to be using circles, but you can use any shape. As I mentioned, I use the squares on that other card. You could have stars, ovals, it's entirely up to you. But you want to take the largest of the aperture shape that you have, and then this biggest piece of card here, so that's the 11x6. In the middle 6x6 section you want to cut your largest shape, so just move that there for a minute. So I'm just going to sit this down. You don't have to have it in the middle, you could have it slightly higher, but you've got to make sure all the rest sit, you know, and follow the kind of same placement as the first one, so that you get that kind of tunnel effect. So I'm going to stick with this one in the middle, and then it just makes the rest easy to line up. So, and my sentiment is probably going to be a circle shape just here, so it looks like a planet, or it just, you know, it fits well with the planet shape. So I'm going to tack this in place with some washi and just check that looks about right. So I'm going to run that one through. So you should now have something like this with your shape, and then you can just fold and burnish those other score lines. I'm going to do some more die cutting, so keep this here for a minute, but you want that kind of shape. And if you get the next circle down, I'm actually going to miss one. So there's the original, the largest one. I've then missed one, and then I'm going to go to the next one. Then I'm going to miss that one and go to that one. But it's entirely up to you. Grab one of these 6x7 pieces and sit your next size in the middle. And then if you get this one, the one that you've already cut, line up the score lines and just sit that down over the top. You can then move this next shape so you've got a nice equal border, and that way you know that you're getting them all perfectly kind of lined up with each other, so you're going to get that, you know, tunnel effect. So now I can just run that one through and die cut it, and I'm just going to repeat that on the other two. So you should now have 3 pieces which are going to sit like this on top of each other. So we've got that tunnel. You've got your largest one that's going to go on the very front, and then you've got your 6x6 back piece. Now, because I've got such a small circle now, I think I'm going to have some black, or might even replace this for a piece of black card so it looks like the black hole, and just leave it at that. So, or I might emboss maybe some stars in white on it or something. So next I want to do some inking. So I'm going to start off with this one, and I want to mask off the 2-inch side pieces because that's where I'm going to have pattern paper. So I'm just using that same, this is just some washi tape, it's not actual masking tape, but if you've got something that's really sticky, then I would recommend just removing some of the stickiness by just rubbing it on your clothes. But this one is pretty good, so I'm just going to pop that down each side there. So now I can just focus on inking up this here. So I haven't got too much to ink up, and you're only going to see a little bit of each of these pieces, so you know you're only going to see that much of each one, but I will do all of them because you can see in, like with this one here, you do see in from the top as well, so just to keep it all nice and neat. So when you do this, you just want to think about the colours that you have. So I've got squeezed lemonade, picked raspberry, evergreen bough, broken china, mermaid lagoon, seedless preserves, and wilted violet. So you can use any colours you want, but when you're actually doing this, you want to make sure that when they mix together, they're not going to mud. You know, you can start to get brown or just colours that don't work with the theme that you had in mind. So I know, for example, if I mix now some of the picked raspberry next to this, we'll start to get a bit of an orange, which is going to be fine. It's a nice colour. So I'm going to take a little bit of this, rub off some of the excess, and just do a little bit there. And maybe do some on its own here, and a little bit over here, and then I can come back in again with the yellow and just get a nicer blend between the two there, like so. So the evergreen bough is actually a bit darker than I want, so I think I'm going to go for the cracked pistachio. I want to keep this, you know, as bright as I can get it. So just test the colours first. Yeah, that one's going to work nicer. Just add a little bit there, add a bit there, and start bringing it down here as well, because those will mix nice together. You're going to add a lot of darker colour on top of this in a moment. We want this to just pop amongst the darkness of space, basically. So let's do another bit of green there, and I might bring another little bit of the pink in down here as well. You're just trying to get that nice blend between the 2 or 3 in this case here. So we're starting to get that darker purpley kind of colour coming through now, so I can work that a bit more. So I'm now going to bring in some of the wilted violet, because this is a lovely, really rich purple colour. So I'm going to do a little bit up there, and next to the pink, and maybe down in this corner as well. And then I'm just going to work those two so they blend a bit better up here. And now I'm going to fill a lot of this white space with the Mermaid Lagoon. So Faded Jeans is a nice one. I've used that before in other space themes. And then I'm going to bring in the Black Soot. So you're now going to end up covering a lot of all this brightness, because you just want, like I said, little bits kind of coming through. And then I'm going to start bringing in all of the brushes with the colour again, and just go over and just start getting like a blurred effect. You want it to all start to blend. So I think I'm happy with that. So I've got a, you know, that blurred effect, which is what you want. and we're going to sprinkle lots of white opaque paint over this. So I'm going to carry on that process. I'm not going to take away the tape yet until I've popped the white paint on, so we'll do the reveal of that shortly, but I'm just going to do that same process on those other 3 pieces. So I've got all of the pieces here. So next I want to spray these with some water, because I've used the Oxide inks. These react when you add water to them. So I've got my spray bottle, and there's a few ways you can do it depending on what bottle you've got. If you spray this, it will just create this particular bottle will just give you a mist, so you probably won't really see it. I want like droplets, so I just spray. So I've got like a little puddle in my hand, and then just kind of, you know, flick it onto the card, and you'll get some really cool effects. And then I like to just let it just sit for a few seconds, and you'll start to see it react. I don't know how well it's picking it up on the camera, but you'll see it more so in person. And then if you just lay some paper towel over the top and just blot off that excess water. So you don't want to completely drown this, because you don't want to warp the card. This isn't going to cause too much damage, and then I'm going to let it dry naturally. I'm not going to apply any heat to this. Now when I take that off, you can see you got a really cool effect. So already that for some people is enough for a galaxy effect, but I'm going to add some white gouache opaque paint over the top just to create some real like just some nice stars and things like that. And you can go in again now if you want, or I'd let that dry and then go in again, but I'm going to do that on all of these pieces, and then I'm going to let them dry, and then we can add the paint. So everything's dry. I've just popped some of my gouache opaque watercolour paint onto this acrylic block. This is the Arteza one here, but there's loads on the market. What you want to do is grab some water. I'm going to use my bottle here, and I'm just going to spray some onto here to fill my bottle up. Okay. And just mix that together until you've got a nice mix. Okay, I'm then going to push it towards the edge. Now there's a few ways you can do this. You can load up the end of the brush and then flick it with your finger, and you'll get a different effect, or you can just flick it off the edge here. Now I would protect everything around you if you've never done this before, because it'll probably go everywhere, including on yourself. So make sure you're not wearing your nice clothes. But I'm just going to flick it down, and the closer you go, you'll get like really nice kind of little mist effect. The higher up, you'll get quite bigger kind of blob. You can see the effect we've got there. And then if you kind of, you know, let it dry and then go back into it later. But it's up to you when to stop, really. So this is the front one, so I want this to be quite covered. But I think that looks quite good. I'm going to have a sentiment like here maybe, and there'll probably be a planet stuck there as well. But if I just lift that one up, So you can see I'm not too worried about the white on the sides because that's going to get covered with pattern paper. But you can see how it's just transformed that background to look like a galaxy. I really love it. It's such a nice effect and it's really fun to do as well. So I'm just going to work my way through all of these, let it all dry, and then we can put it together and decorate. So everything is dry. I've done a little bit of embossing, which I'll show you in a moment, but I thought I would film the reveal of peeling these off because I know people like to see the kind of crisp line that you get. And then we can pop the, for me it's going to be the embossed mirrored card on each of the sides here. I mean, you could keep it plain. I've gone over a little bit with the colour here, but that's all going to get covered up. But you can see, oh, I've got a little bit of tearing there. Go from that way. Again, you're not going to see any of that. But now we've got the front there. So I've embossed these two pieces here using the space embossing folder. It's a really nice one. Lots of small images of the rocket and the planets, stars. And then I've cut these to 1 3/4 by 5 3/4, and they are going to go either side there. So I'm going to stick those down, and I'm going to use the Calcott all-purpose clear glue because that's going to start to strengthen the sides of the box. Okay, so then I've got all of these pieces here. I've also added the black soot distressed oxide colour just around the edges there of the rings and also around the sides here, and you can see it all on there as well. Okay, so we've got this piece. I just started sticking it down and I stuck the wrong bit. So next, flip it over, and we're working within this 2 by 6 piece. So not the tab and not this bit, just this section. You want to get the one with the smallest aperture, and take your glue, and I'm going to add it onto the left hand side all the way down, and then the edge here is going to line up with the fold here. So if I flip it over, I'll sit that one in there and just fold up that, and then just butt it up to the score line. And then when I fold that over, you'll see there we're starting to get that effect. Oh, should come up a bit there. Then take the next one and again add your glue all along that left hand side, and then you're going to butt the edge of this one up to this folded piece like so. So now you can see that we've got the dimension between these two here, because they've got that 1/2 inch section. You can see that tunnel forming. And then the last one will be this one here. And again, I'm going to add my glue all down that left hand side. And then I'm going to butt this one up to, again, that fold. Bring that over. So I've got that bit visible there. I could put a bit of white card there if I need to, but you're not going to really see that. But now when you bring this around, once we stick these to this side, you'll see we've got that really cool tunnel effect. So what you can do now is just fold them all flat. Mine are all colourful here, but you should have each of the 1/2 inch tabs just sitting next to each other. You can see my 3 there. So all you need to do is add your glue on each one. You can stick these all at the same time, and this means you know your card's going to fold flat like so. And then I'm just going to bring this one right over and just let it lay flat. You should have the 1/2 inch tab overhanging there, and then if you just bring it up and fold it over the opposite way just to really enforce those folds. When we bring it around, we've got that really cool tunnel effect. You can just see where I stuck it wrong there, but like I said, I might just put a thin strip of white card down there just so your eye's not drawn into it, but otherwise I think that looks really cool. Then I've got this piece here. This is the 6 by 6, which I said I'd probably swap for a piece of black, but actually I've just put the black hole effect there. I think that looks quite cool. So you can cut 2 pieces if you would prefer, and you could pop one in here and then one on the outside. so the tabs are sandwiched between the two, or you can just stick it like that, which is what I'm going to do on this one. So I'm going to grab a quick grab glue again and just run it down each side here, and just pop that one side down, and then if you just fold the card flat, you can then stick the other one down. And now we've got our full box card. I've also then cut these pieces here, so I've got the mirrored card and then some white, and I've just stamped the Have a Blast, which is from the stamp set, and that's going to sit on the back here. So the silver is 5 3/4 squared, and then the white's 5 1/2 squared, and then that's our place to write our message. But I'm going to stick that last, because just in case there is any marks or anything on my desk, I don't want that to, you know, stain or mark this piece. Now we can finish with the decoration. So I've got all these pieces here. I thought it would be cool to have an astronaut like falling almost into the black hole, so I think I'm going to have him right down the back there, and then I'm going to have another one on the front. My sentiment says Happy But Earth Day, and I think I'm going to have that one kind of there. And then I've got all the planets: Earth, the space station, the rocket. I thought the rocket would look quite good kind of around the edge there. Space station can just be kind of there, and then just build up all of the planets. So I'm just gonna, you know, have some fun, kind of lay it all roughly where you think first, maybe take a photo, you know, see if that's definitely where you want it to go. Otherwise you can just move it around again until you're happy. And then I've got some little stars that I'm going to add, some little silver ones, just to tie in the silver around the frame and the silver on the sides. It'd be quite nice to have a bit of sparkle in here as well. So that's everything stuck down, and I've also added those small stars. I think they look really nice when they catch the light. But what I'm now going to do is just finish off using a bit of my accent glaze. I like to add it on the helmet, on the astronaut, just on the glass there, and on the window of the rocket. Just gives it just something extra, another little bit of shine. So I'm just going to add a little bit over the top there. It will come out a little bit cloudy if it's thick, and then it will just dry clear. But it's just another nice little detail to add. There we go. So I just hold that up again. When it catches the light, you see now that glaze. But it all folds flat, stands up really nicely. Can go flat without that gloss touching. So that will go into a 6x8 envelope. The box envelope is going to be coming soon for that size, because I've made a few cards now in this size, so it'd be handy to have that box. So I've really enjoyed making this one. I've loved just doing all the different techniques with the inking and the white paint, and just building this scene. I just think it's come together so well. As soon as I'd made this one, bring it back, I just knew I had to do one with circles and use my space theme stamps. So I'm really pleased with how these have turned out. You can see that one again there, completely different, but it works, I think, really well as well. So as always, thank you for watching. I will link all of the product that I've used below. I'll even link this stamp set as well. I picked this one up in the sale, but I'm sure someone will be selling it. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll be back again very soon. Bye.